What a group, by the way. You heard that right. Newcastle returned to the Champions League after 20 years. We'll see them take on Mbappe's PSG, 97 winners Borussia Dortmund, and 7 times champions of Europe AC Milan. Wow. Can they come through it, Ray? I think they can finish second.
Well, they've got nothing to lose. That is a strong group as we look at every group. But Newcastle will just be looking forward to them away trips.
By the way, them 3 teams in that group won't fancy.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I think that's going to be a really exciting group. Probably the standout group of the draw. But yeah, I mean, Newcastle just got to go into it and enjoy it. I mean, you know, it was like Champions League football. It's back in the North East. They'd be so excited about playing those sort of sides that, you know, I think you just got to go out, play your best you can and see how you get on. Maybe there can be a shocks in the group. But it's just exciting times at the North East, isn't there? That's the most important thing.
Let's say a very good morning now to our European football expert, Kevin Hatchard, who joins us. Kev, morning.
Morning, Kev.
Morning, guys. How are we?
Oh, great. This is brilliant. I love Champions League. I really, really do. And what a group that is for Newcastle United, Group F.
I think it's one of the strongest groups I can remember. And I think you nailed it, Alan, when you said the other teams wouldn't have wanted to draw Newcastle. And that's absolutely it. Newcastle were lurking in that pot 4. They were the most dangerous team, I think, in that section. And Dortmund and Milan will look at that and think, that makes things a lot more complicated. So I do think Paris are the strongest team, but they've not been perfect at the start of the season. There was all that uncertainty over Kylian Mbappe. I think they've made some good signings, but Luis Enrique hasn't been there very long. He's still trying to organise things. He's still trying to get his style across to the players. Dortmund are not quite at it at the moment. They've just signed Niklas Füllkrug, who was joint top scorer in the Bundesliga last season, but they're still not quite there. And Milan lost one of their best players to Newcastle when they sold Sandro Tonali. Yeah. So they're bedding in 5, 6, 7 new players. So nobody's perfect in that group, and Newcastle will look at it and think not only is it a set of great games, but it's also an opportunity.
By the way, can you imagine the atmosphere home and away for the Dortmund game? Whoa.
Oh, terrific. Terrific. I mean, for fans who are planning to go to the games, what an amazing set of away trips. You know, going to Paris, going to Milan and going to Dortmund. Great stadiums, great atmospheres. It's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely, Kev. Just looking at a few of the other groups, Group A is interesting because obviously the thoughts were Harry Kane could possibly go to Manchester United, but now they're drawn BeIN, Copenhagen, Galatasaray. Pretty straightforward for BeIN and Manchester United to get through that group, or Galatasaray? What sort of start have they had?
Well, I think Galatasaray are the potential, banana skin because of the players they've signed. Zaha's one of them. So it's the Wilfried Zaha derby, if you like, considering he was at Manchester United once upon a time. But you've got him, you've got Icardi, who scored goals ever since he went to Galatasaray and is still doing it. Dries Mertens, Hakim Ziyech. They've signed a lot of good attacking players, Galatasaray. Now, I think BeIN and Manchester United should be fine. The only concern would be if you look at some of United's early season performances, particularly the one against Wolves, if they play like that, Galatasaray have the kind of firepower that can really do some damage. So Copenhagen are going to be the whipping boys of the group. I would expect that. But the other 3 will fancy they can go through. We wondered if Harry Kane would score Champions League goals at Old Trafford. He still might, just not for Manchester United.
Kev, Celtic as well, Group E for our listeners north of the border. They take on 1970 conquerors Feyenoord, Milan in the San Siro. Feyenoord 2, Celtic 1, Atletico and Lazio. So good trips for the Celtic fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a group that they can look at and think they can progress from. Not easy. None of those games are easy. But Feyenoord don't have a lot of experience in this competition recently. They've done brilliantly under Arne Slot, who was linked with the Tottenham job. But how are they going to adapt? They got to the Conference League final. They did well in the Europa League. They've won the Eredivisie, but Celtic will feel maybe they can get something out of those games. Lazio have started really badly under Maurizio Sarri. Atletico are the most dangerous team because they're back to their best, I think, under Diego Simeone this year. So really tough games, all of them, but it could have been a much harder group for Celtic.
Now, a couple of possible transfers. Gravenberch, how good is he possibly going to Liverpool?
He's got talent. He's got huge talent, no doubt about that. You look at the guy that broke through at Ajax, very, very impressive, and lots of coaches have said they think that he could be a proper star. The problem is he stalled at Bayern and hasn't really been that patient, because you go to Bayern, you've got Leon Goretzka in front of you, Joshua Kimmich in front of you. It's going to take time to lever those guys out the way. And I think he is still really young. I think he got frustrated. And I think that Bayern opportunity didn't quite work out for him. He's going to have to be patient at Liverpool as well, because the talent is there, but they've signed McAllister, they've signed Szoboszlai. He's not a pure defensive midfielder, but Jurgen Klopp's been a fan of his for quite some time now, wanted to sign him before this.
Yeah.
So, it could be a great move for Liverpool. It's just about everybody showing a little bit of patience, I think.
Kev, just one quick one. I've got to break, but what a signing this, close to joining Brighton. This is Barcelona's Fati.
Yeah, super player, was the youngest scorer for Barca when he first broke through, but he's had lots of injuries. So it's about, again, patience, but really talented player, and shows how far Brighton have come to be able to get a player of that quality.
Brilliant, Kev. Thank you very much. Kevin Hatchard, the European football expert.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.